Hello, my absolutely beautiful Gemini friends, and welcome to your horoscope for January of 2023, where Gemini, I just got to ask right out of the gate, are you all right? How are you doing? My goodness, you have had not only Mars retrograde in your sign, but also Mercury retrograde in general, right? So the ruling planet has also been retrograde. So there's a lot of slowed down energy, and some things could very much so have been frustrated or slowed down for you, Gemini. But ultimately, my hope for you is that you were able to use this time to slow things, to end things, to bring them to some sort of culmination, so that as you move forward, you can really feel the freedom that the retrogrades brought to your attention. You know, I was trying to get you to relook at your strategy, relook at some structures, relook at some dynamics, and even your family dynamics or your relationships with authority and power. So I am really hoping that the retrograde cycle time brought that to you. We will welcome both Mars and your ruling planet Mercury out of retrograde this month, which I think is an absolute delight because it means that things can begin to move forward. Now, I don't think we're going to feel the entirety of that forward movement really until the end of the month. So it's not to say you're not going to have a good month. Don't hear what I'm not saying, Gemini. What I'm saying is the pickup of really feeling a bit more in the flow, I think presents itself a bit more at the end of the month than it does at the beginning, which you can still make perfect, beautiful use of all of the transits that are coming. Now, of course, keep in mind that with this Mars coming out of retrograde, we don't have Mars fully out of its retrograde path until we get to March. So what does that mean? Essentially, it means that you've been in review. You've been reviewing some things about yourself, how you do things, the strategy you use to represent yourself, put yourself out there. You know, even your own identity has been, you know, the desires around it, what you want, how you want to go about getting the things that you want have all been in review. And hopefully for some of you, even external environments like a product or a space that you're living in, a space that you're moving in. When we get to March, everything you've been reviewing and going through is now like, okay, it's set, it's ready, let's go get it. And you feel it moving forward with a bit more ease. So look forward to that energy, but I also want you to understand the length of the transit, because it's like, oh my God, are we still here? And sometimes the answer is yes. Yes, we are still here. And you need to know that. You need to hear that so that you understand the length of the transit that you're working with in full, okay? All right, Geminis, let's get in here and talk about what's going on this month. So right at the beginning of the month on the 2nd, we see Venus move into the energy of Aquarius, where Venus is going to stay planted here until January 26th. Okay, so you've got a month of Venus in this Aquarian energy. And for you, this lights up the 8th house place, okay? So joint resources, joint connections, intimacy, you see into me. There's a conversation of death, debt, taxes, and inheritance that happens over here, along with sex, trauma, healing, counseling. But the vibration that I'm cueing in for you, Gemini, is independence. There is an independence that I think is coming alive here, and you are innovating from it, where you're like, I want my freedom. I want my independence. I'm willing to innovate in this area. I don't want to be in the same box that I have been. Now, in the Aquarian energy, this could also take place, you know, where you're attracting in opportunities, you're attracting in money. You're attracting in an ease in this area, something that puts you in the space of independence through social groupings, through a tribe, through even 8th house detoxing. You know, maybe you've had to detox your network in some way, let some things go in order to really have this area be delicious and in balance. Now, I think for the Geminis who are ready for it, this is a wonderful vibration of intimacy as well. And it can just bring some good old-fashioned sex, you know, which, if that's what you're interested in, if that's what your vibration is at this time, Venus is still Venus in this particular area. The one thing I will tell you is to be mindful of what that looks like, because sometimes in the Aquarian vibration, right, you want to express yourself, you want to have even a little freedom through your sex life, through that healing modality that comes when we can join that way. But also, it can be the space where maybe you had one too many, and a person who was just supposed to be a friend, things go a little bit in that direction. So just be mindful of what that calls in for you, okay? On the 6th, we're going to have a full moon at 16 degrees of Cancer. So this is, of course, going to light up your second house space. Now, the full moon is asking you to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. We need a course correction. We need a realization. Our attention has to come to our relationship with the dynamics of money. Right? Flat out. How's it going with your money? How's it going with your finances, Gemini? Are you feeling secure, Cancer? Are you feeling protective? Are you indirectly engaging with your money? What's going on in your financial situation that a revelation is presenting itself, okay? Other things to think about are your values. What do you value today as we cross the threshold to 2023, Gemini? What are the values that you are standing on? Because you're making life plans, right? You're making a home on the values that you believe in, because you're going to stand on them. You're going to build a life around them. So are you clear on them, okay? Do they nurture you? Do they bring you safety? Things like that. As we get to the 12th, we're going to see that Mars coming out of retrograde in the energy of Gemini. So right here in your sign. Welcome back to life a little bit, Gemini. If you truly have felt like the energy was a low, slow crawl for a minute, you've been your action and your strategy has really been being rebirthed, and any attempts to force it forward or really push something forward, I think, has been met with a lot of frustration. And now, as Mars comes out of this retrograde, it's like, okay, I can begin to move this version of myself, this strategy, this desire that I have for myself forward. I can really take some action, so enjoy that. Now on the 18th, just behind that, we'll see Mercury coming out of retrograde in the energy of Gemini, in the energy of Capricorn as well. However, Mars comes out of retrograde at 8 degrees of Gemini, and Mercury comes out of retrograde in Capricorn at 8 degrees. So there's a series of eights that is happening this month. I'm really interested in our numerology crew telling us about eights. What does it mean when we've got a population of eights? Let me know in the comment section down below, because that's a signature for you happening this month, Gemini. But as the ruling planet Mercury comes out of retrograde in that Capricornian vibration, you have this opportunity, I think, to really make a lot of peace around what does it mean for you, Gemini, to be independent. What are you getting independent of these family structures and these family dynamics that maybe you've been engaged in for some time and they're not fulfilling anymore? You realize that there's a power dilemma, or there's a dilemma in the structure of how things were built, and you're ready to shed it, you're ready to detox it. So I would love to hear an answer to that question, because you've been looking back at things, you've needed to communicate, you've needed to make some decisions, maybe detoxing, making decisions to detox some things from your life because they just don't fit the vibration anymore, and that's very much so been the conversation. As we get to the 20th, we see the sun entering into the energy of Aquarius. And just a day behind that, on the 21st, we're going to have the new moon at 1 degree Aquarius as well. So you're planting your seeds of intention here, Gemini, to launch yourself out there, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, your expansion, whether that be global, international travel, language, legal things that expand out your profession and expand your horizon. Higher education falls in here, right? So your opportunity to expand out becomes available at this time. Now, plant your seeds of intention. Be wise. Plant with wisdom. This particular new moon is in a really nice connection with Jupiter, and so that's great. You've also got Pluto just over here as well, but what I want you to be mindful of is that what you plant, for good or for ill, is what you're going to work on for just a little bit. So where do you want to go? What does your expansion look like? What does your next piece of education or training, what is it about? Because it's got a lot to do with the values that you've been seeing, right? It's got a lot to do with the rebellion and the innovation of things that you've shed, so you could be very focused on your own message, okay? When we get to the 22nd, we're going to see Uranus coming out of retrograde, moving direct in the energy of Taurus. This lights up your 12th house space. Uranus has been in Taurus, so truly spiritual truths, beliefs, behavior patterns that have been holding you back or have been sabotaging. You've been using them to sabotage yourself. Creative skills or talents. Things that have been going on behind the scenes. These have been shaken out so that they could be shaken loose and gotten rid of. Uranus wants your freedom, right? In Taurus, it says, this is not steady enough for me to stand on anymore. It is not giving me freedom. It does not have value. So I believe that you have been shedding it. Old conflict that needs to be dealt with and brought to rest. This is an earth energy, so material things around money for you that have maybe been done in secret or you've been worried about them. Creative skills and talents that you haven't really shown to the world, or you've been too distracted to really give us your gems. All of these things, you have the innovation and the freedom capacity in your pocket, and now it's beginning to move it forward. As we close out the month, we're going to see Venus enter into the energy of Pisces, lighting up your 10th house space. So Venus in the 10th house is an attracting energy. It's calling in opportunity to you, but it's calling in the space where it's like, it's not this or that, Gemini. It's not this or that. Pisces is a fellow mutable energy, so you need to be flexible, right? There could be an opportunity that comes in over here and one that comes in over here, and you think that they are seemingly unrelated, and they are not. But this is an opportunity also to pull in relationships of people around you that can create relationship, but can also create financial dynamics. There's a lot of healing that I think becomes available for you around the area of work. Did you try a project before and it didn't work out? Were you laid off? What was the circumstance around work where Venus is actually calling in a healing for you at this time? So I think the end of the month is stronger than the first part of the month, but we got to live through the beginning to get to the end as well. So make the most use of all of these energies. And remember, you have a lot of power to still go back to things to finish them, even as we're traveling here in January. All right, my beautiful Gemini friends, I love you. Have a great month. Make sure you let me know about those 8s in the comment section down below. Bye, beautiful friends. All right, so right at the beginning of the month, we've got Venus moving into the energy of Aquarius until the 26th. This is going to light up your 9th house space, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, and you're attracting in opportunities to engage this. But this is the thing. You're not in your traditional and conventional spaces. Maybe you're like, I want to teach, I want to learn, I want to share, I want to travel someplace that is not maybe someplace I would have gone in 2019, right? Or nobody went anywhere in 2020, so that's not it. But right, like you're kind of out of your own bubble. You attract in unconventional opportunities, innovations, people, things like that. So make space for the opportunity. Now, Venus is still Venus, so truly, in the 9th house, you could be making money in some way that is connected to the internet, science, medicine, innovation, astrology, things like that. But you could just as easily travel someplace different, go to a different grocery store, and a really significant relationship presents itself. So I just want you to be open to the fact that whatever's happening, Venus is trying to make things have some ease and attract it in for your benefit, okay?